Yo, peace and love, family. We are back for another episode of What's Good With You. And I got some familiar faces. We got Io.
Hey.
And we got Chef Beans. And I am just so happy to be back. I've been getting great feedback from the first couple of episodes.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all.
And we are definitely about to... Okay. We're definitely about to keep it real this season and really share our truths. Our truths.
About to keep it real or keeping it real?
Yeah.
We ain't about to nothing. It's already real.
But before I get into that, how was your week, Beans?
My week was pretty stellar, I must say. I will say that I'm still learning how to love myself more, regardless of the gregarious energy that people get from my social media and how much I impact people. There are times when I'm looking in the mirror like, dang, bro, did you really need that in and out? But it was good, though. You wanted it in the moment. So giving myself more grace when it comes to how I feel when I'm wearing shirts that I've had for a long time that don't fit me the same way that they used to fit me. I'm still giving myself more grace with that. But other than that, I must say I'm pretty swell.
What about you, Aya?
I was feeling good. Really trying to work towards focusing more on what it is that I want to do in my passions and hobbies. Stuff like this really motivates me to get back started with my own projects because, it could be difficult when you get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed with life, but trying to just say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to focus on, and, executing that.
I would say for me, I was really inspired by Keith. He has a morning show, and it's like it's motivational. But he was talking about how, like, I'm not going to support all, like, black businesses. And I was like, what? But then when he explained, it was like, if you're not going 100% for your business, like, I'm not going to support it. Like, I need to see, do you believe in it? Like, are you posting about it every day? Are you going hard every day for your business? Then when I see that, I'm always going to, contribute to that. But it made me think about, like, dang, am I going hard for what's good with you? Like, am I going hard for my business and what I do? Because it's like I spend all this time on my regular job, but how much time am I really putting into the things that I want, my passions? And it kind of made me think, reflect on myself and be like, I got to go a little harder. Because I got to believe in it more than anybody else does in order for it to succeed. So I'm going to go a little harder, Keith. Thanks for that. Have you guys watched Insecure?
Yes.
This episode is inspired by Insecure. Issa, if you ever want to be on.
Yeah, I've seen that, John.
They just started season 5, and it's the last season.
Season 5. That's what they've been calling it. Like,
yeah.
5.
I mean,
with these 30-minute episodes.
Right. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. This I love that show because I feel like it's so the depiction of life for a single black woman, like living in Inglewood, is almost spot on.
Right.
It's almost spot on, and I've never identified with the show that much.
Right.
And especially now I live in Inglewood, so I'm like, dang, we sisters, we twins, like, dang, girl. But the reason why this episode is inspired by it because I've been feeling very heavy about a certain friendship. And I really want y'all's opinions. I want to know how other people deal with friendships and growing out of friendships, friendship breakups. And so we're about to really get into it. And, if any friends listen to this, don't feel offended. This is just my experience now. Right. This is just how I feel now. So you might feel some type of way, but this is my experience and this is what I'm sharing. We all deal with friendships, and now we're all in that transitional period where we're not in college no more. We're not in high school no more. We grown. We got bills. We all have our own place. Like, we all got to take care of ourselves. So the dynamics of our friendships are changing.
Right.
Are changing. And I wanted to start off with Beans. How have your friendships changed from childhood or adolescence to adulthood?
They've changed a lot because I feel like when you're a child or adolescent, teenager, whatever you want to call it, it's the proximity that has you so close to a person. So y'all might not even be super compatible, but y'all might be relatable because y'all both hate the same gym teacher, or y'all on the same bus, y'all sit in the same row, y'all are on the same football team, and you're not really in control because your parents are paying the bills. You go home, it's the proximity. And I'm going to say that you might not even be that much of an independent thinker. As you transition from high school to college, you experience all these different things, and then you're able to kind of look at a person and observe, be like, you have kind of been the same person since elementary school, whether that's manipulative or something. Now I have the choice if I want to cut off this proximity.
Right.
Because if it's not adding to anything that I'm doing or amplifying the inexplainable joy that I know I deserve, I literally can treat you like an adult and be like, it's okay for us to grow apart. Because people mourn certain friendships and things like that. But I feel like my mind is a filing cabinet. I put people in different folders based off of how they treat me or I respond to them. So you might be in the folder that's like, you can stay, you can go, that's none of my business, or in the folder that I got to put in the shredder. But nonetheless, I psychoanalyze my friendships, and the ones that are closest to me are there intentionally based off of our connection. But everything else, not like anybody can go. Sandbox doesn't mean anything to me.
You express whether they can stay or go, like or is it just a mental note to yourself?
No, I express it. It can be a mental note, but I feel like sometimes the best response is no response. Right. So if I'm not communicating to you or not texting you, that's one way. Or if it gets to a point where we are communicating, if I care enough to share, like, this is how you made me feel, that's even a form of love. But I don't owe anyone an explanation. Cutting off proximity can literally be blocking you, not responding when you text me or call me. When we see each other in person, maybe this, but I don't feel like you owe anyone anything. It's just kind of like, if you moving foul, I don't, people just start to fall off themselves if we on two different trajectories.
Right. That's been the difference for me. Like, in college and in high school, I think that's a big thing. I never thought about proximity and people who are your friends with just because they live close to you or, you know, they're in the same dorm as you. But as I've graduated and I live in California, so a lot of my friends were from different states, and sometimes I low-key would feel guilty a little bit about not reaching out to friends and feeling like that I had that close bond and close relationship to them, but I haven't been keeping up my end of it. But then I also had to realize, like, not everybody is on the same path as you, and not everybody is doing the same things as you.
And that is okay.
Right, and that's okay. And you don't have to beat yourself up about it. But I will say, moving out on my own, I've seen a lot of my friends that maybe I thought I wasn't as close to them, but I've seen a lot of them like show up for me and really starting to appreciate the people who actually make the effort. Right. And it's not always on me. And I think that's the biggest difference with like childhood friendships and adult friendships. Like it requires a little bit of work to maintain adult friendships versus when they're living next to you. It's like, oh, hey, I'm going to see this person anyway. So it's not a lot of effort that goes into that. So I would say my adult friendships are in a good space right now.
I would say the same thing. I feel like living in New York, I was constantly able to see my friends on the East Coast, traveling up to like the DMV and then going down south. That wasn't hard for me. But my California friendships did fall off significantly. But it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. However, I did recognize that when it was time for me to move home, you know, like who made an effort to come visit and who made an effort to like, you know, who didn't come visit. I found myself like my relationships, as you guys have heard before, my friends, we fly out to each other all the time, my college friends. But a lot of my friends that are here from college, it's kind of hit or miss. I really am in a long distance relationship with my friends right now. And it's a weird feeling. Like Nia and I live close to each other, you know, but and we make an effort to see each other and show up and vice versa. But it is a little bit tricky with those that, you know, that may be from here, and we may have both gone to college, but we just on two different waves. And also a friendship it works both ways. So it's like if I can't always be the one driving out to Pasadena to see you. Right. You're going to have to make your way out here. Right. Because it's like, you know, it's a two-way street. So just growing and developing, and then lastly, learning to manage myself in relationships. Friendships are really hard for me sometimes.
I saw something on Instagram this week, and I may be saying it wrong, but it was like a whole list of things. Like, if a person doesn't text you, take it personal. If they don't show up for you, take it personal. Take it personal. Take it personal. And I was like, why are people retweeting this? But I'm like, am I tripping? Should you take those things personal, or is it just because I'm thinking of me myself? Sometimes when I don't reach out to somebody, it's not that I'm purposely trying to avoid you. It's that I have so much shit going on that I can't even think about that right now. It's not personal. And when I saw that, I was just like, y'all just sound like a bunch of hurt people on Instagram. Well, is that wrong to say?
No.
But they sound like a bunch of hurt people. Like, that sounds to me like a trauma response. Like, oh, this happened to me, so I'm gonna take everything personal now. And I don't know.
I look at posts like that, like subtweets.
Right.
Like, if you feel like you got to say something to a person who didn't respond to your text message or phone call, reach out to them.
Call
especially,
me.
Especially if you care that much. Like, people who engage in those type of things, you got to cut off the people. If you're around 5 different people who broke, you're gonna be the 6th one. It's just certain things that I feel like is attention seeking behavior. So posts like that, I low-key judge people who post things like that.
That's what I was thinking too.
Like, why are you're very hurt.
Right. You sound hurt.
And it's not a person's like responsibility. Now, if y'all had plans or something,
right,
you can hold a person accountable if they stood you up or different things like that. But I say all the time, charge it to my head, not my heart. Like, if you know me, and we cool like that, you know I have 1,000,001 things going on.
Right.
So there's times, especially being from the East Coast and living out West, it's a 3-hour difference.
Right.
So
yeah,
I might have been asleep.
And
it's
that goes
hard.
into like the quality of the friendship. Like, I have a friend, her name Akila, this is like my best friend. I will not hear from Akila for like 2-3 weeks, but I do not charge it to like her heart, because I know she be busy.
Right.
People have lives, and you know, we're at all different stages of adulting. So it's like, that's my dog. I may not hear from her all the time, but it's like, when we do check in, it's good. She's gonna come. Versus like my other friend, Jade, I may hear from her every day. We can talk 5-10 times a day. I could be on FaceTime, not say anything.
Right.
But if you ever feel like you gotta sub me, if you feel that way, you know, that's a call. That's a conversation.
Just call me. Just talk about it, because that really reminds me of like some of the children that I work with that feel like they have to do everything on their own. They can't trust anybody.
Right.
And that comes from being hurt by something.
Right.
Emotional trauma is just as bad as physical trauma. Right. And that creates people who think, oh, I got to do it on my own. Like, most people who are successful don't do it just by themselves, solely by themselves, I should say. So if a friend is not, like you said, if a friend is not hitting you up or not communicating as much as you would like just have that conversation. I think the way that I am able to maintain some of my friendships now, and even like I would say I have like friendships with my cousins too. Right. And it's like, I don't talk to them every day, but I love them, and they know that, you know, I love them, that they love me, but I don't talk to them every day, and I don't take that personally. Right. I feel like me not taking it personally allows us to have that good relationship. And when I see you, I'm embracing you. I'm checking on you. I'm asking you how you doing, because I'm not taking it personal, and I'm understanding that we all have our own separate lives. Like, most of my cousins live in Moreno Valley and stuff like that. We don't see each other a lot, but I still love them.
I feel like a lot of those things too are like a cry for help.
Right.
Like, what are you really trying? Are you mad that I didn't text you back, or are you mad that you feel lonely?
Right.
But what about those who honestly feel like, you know, like, I am that friend who is like, I feel like I always check in. I always check in with my friends. Or I always do this. But it's like, when you gonna check on me? Like, why I always gotta call you? It's it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna post about you, but I'm just saying, like, check on your friend that may be strong, that may be funny. Because it's like, although, yes, we busy, if I'm taking the time to, like, you know, be like, bro, you good? Or, hey, sis, you good? Call me. Right. I got homies that I know if I don't call them, I won't hear from them. And that's when you have to take a step back and realize, like, what am I getting from this person? Or what does this friendship mean to me? Or is that important for me?
I think the key thing is, though, communicating that that's what you're looking for in the friendship.
Right.
Because you can't always expect people to treat you the way that you treat them. You have to start communicating that. And a lot of people will do that, like, oh, she fake, or she this because she don't do this. And I always ask my friends this: did you tell them that?
Right.
Did you ask them about that? Do they know that's what you're looking for? And I tell them that with men and with their friends, and they're like, well, no, but they should nothing. Like, you need to communicate that. A part of being an adult is advocating for your needs. Not everybody is going to be like, oh yeah, well, she needs this, she needs that. You got to say what it is that you need.
There's a book called Mastery of Self, and it talked about how sometimes we give people expectations that they are unaware of and that they didn't sign up for.
Right.
So back to what you were saying, like, communicate what it is, and if you do have these expectations, if they agree to them, then you can hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to hold someone accountable for something that they're unaware of.
Right. You're setting them up to fail. They taking a test, they don't even know they're being tested, so they're gonna fail. So yeah, just make sure that you're advocating for yourself and your needs. But also, if you do verbalize what it is that you need and they still not doing it,
you have a choice.
That's when you have the decision to make. That's when you like, you know, maybe this friendship is not what it used to be.
And your 100 may not be that person's 100. Your 100 may be somebody's 60. Or like somebody's like 50. Like that's the most that they could do for you in this friendship. And you'd be like, why would they do this? Or why they do that? I always get flustered when people do weird stuff. But it's like, girl, this has been this person's body. Why you've grown and you don't understand it.
Right.
You need to make a decision on whether I'm a interact or put them in that folder that you be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what would you guys say are some signs of a toxic friendship? And I'm curious to know what that looks like for men, because I'm so used to the female experience, and I have guy friends, but we never like really get into it over anything. So what does that look like from a man's perspective?
I mean, similar to women's perspective, if you identify things that you're not okay with, then that can be a flag. Like, for example, I have old beans from early 20s to beans where I'm at now. I'm not interested in hearing about, if you are in a relationship, how many girls you smashed on the side. Because the place where I'm kind of feel compelled to hold you accountable.
Right.
Or like things like that. Not saying we can't still be cool, but like it gets very tricky. Or even like, for example, let's say if I had a friend who was on domestic violence, let's get into that. It's just certain things that are like, let's go there.
Right.
Because it's just certain things I'm not tolerating. I've personally been impacted by domestic violence in my family. So if it's a friend who's okay with that, or this is something that recently developed, that'll be a red flag. I'm not even cool with like rocking with you at all.
Right.
Because of like, I don't think I would have ever been cool with things like that. That can be a red flag. And you'd be surprised. Let me not say you'd be surprised, but it's very common. And I didn't realize how common it was around people my age and different things like that.
Right.
Hearing different stories from women saying like, yeah, I used to be in a couple of domestic violence situations. Or yeah, so-and-so, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, her dude do this, and that. And I'm just like, it can be around you, but it's just not super overt. So you just kind of like, things that I guess aren't right in front of you, you don't necessarily think about until someone expresses it. And these are things that I'm identifying and hearing something like, let me not be super like, let me not play with certain things. Like I remember I used to just kind of like just fake like jab at people, not just like men, but like women. Sometimes like stop. But just how you deal with kids, and you notice if you move too fast and they jump,
right?
Like, are you being beat at home? Like once I started seeing certain women do that, sometimes I'm like, I can't even like
play like that.
Yeah.
You can't
so
even
things
play
like that are like flags to me, but especially
Right.
like that domestic violence thing, ain't shit cool about that. Like that's
Right.
super weird, weak to me. You gotta have all the excuses. Well, my dad did this, dad did that. Nah, I can't get jiggy with none of that.
Nah.
A lot of people are starting to make like toxic relationships, like they praise that on social media.
Right.
They be like #toxic or I'm this. I don't think that shit's funny.
Right.
I have a couple of friends, or I know of a lot of people as well who are in these relationships, and I've been like, like that's abuse. That's physical, mental.
Call it what it is.
Right.
That's abuse.
Right.
And then it can be a lot for the friend. I had to take a step back from a friend because at one point she would joke about it. Like, yeah, he just knocked my head between the washer, or like we was fighting and went to the mall. And I'd be like, that's not okay. Like, that's not something I want to even associate fully with. And I have to take a step back because you're not taking it seriously. And it's very serious. Right. It's very serious to me.
So it's not even what it sounds like. What both of you guys are saying. It's not like the person has these toxic traits, but also how they live their life. Yeah, that can be a red flag in itself. So that can tell you, like, okay, maybe I don't need to be around this person anymore. It's not that they're doing something directly to you, but the way that they carry themselves is a sign to you that maybe this friendship has outgrown, you know, or it's not what it used to be.
Or certain cultures. I had even expressed on social media about being sexually assaulted, and a lot of people were still cool with these two men that had done this to me and multiple women. I remember that. And I just felt like I don't want to entertain men or people that are still gonna, you know, I feel like you gotta pick a side with some stuff, like, and you gotta grow apart from it. I can't hang with the same people that would hang with somebody that was accused of sexual assault or was accused of doing anything that's you just grow, right? You just,
it shows your true character, because there's certain things that you can't really be in the middle of. Like, you can't really be in the middle on domestic violence or sexual assault. It's like you gotta choose a side, and the way that people, I guess their thought process also too is kind of a turn off for friendships too. Like, I remember when the whole Tory Lanez and Meg things happened, and everybody was like, nah, Tory cool, he this, like, I still mess with his music and blah, blah, blah. And I was like looking at a lot of people like, I can't be friends. I can't rock with y'all if y'all really gonna stand behind a man that shot somebody out of anger or whatever. Like, that's just not, because that's domestic violence too. Yeah. Like, whether, those types of things are some of the signs that tell me that I don't need to be friends with this person anymore. And another thing that I struggled with is kind of judgmental friends. I don't like judgmental friends. Like, I get that you want to look out for me, but at the same time, like, don't make me feel bad about all the decisions that I'm doing. Like, say if I go on a date with this guy this day and I go on a date, it's like, damn, you going on another date? Damn, you doing this?
Damn, like, you a date monster.
Right, damn. Did you sleep with him? Did you do this? And I'm just like, wow. I feel like I can't even tell my friends, like, stuff because I feel like I'm going to get judged.
You know what else is weird to me? I think this flag also came up. Is I don't like gossipy, like, if you're talking crazy about a person, right? Mm-hmm. To me, let's just say, and then that person comes around and you're different from what you just expressed. I'm like, if you're doing this with this person, what are you doing when I'm away? Right. Like, it's things like that I just, like, pay attention to, even with some of those friends who I might have known since this grade or that grade, different things like that. I try to eliminate the proximity of all weird shit because I don't like weird shit. So as an independent thinker and an independent decision maker, I don't have to be around weird shit.
Hampton University was a very weird place, and we all
when it comes to friendships, friendships, for sure,
and just how gossip would spread. And you don't even realize how you participating in it by, like, sending something to the next person, or even, oh, did you see so and so
being at that table in the cafeteria,
and I can say to myself, there have been times when I've really been gossiping, just out of habit, or just off of, like,
it was the culture
send me this, or
it was the culture of the campus.
We had a yik yak where you could talk about people in the vicinity, and literally it would just be posted randomly by, like, the second.
People's business just be out there, like,
oh, girl with the pink hair, she this or she that, and be like, dang, I just walked
like, oh, girl from VC who got had a train ran on her by the Qs, and, like, we're like, wait, what? Like, yo, what?
No, come on, man. Come on, man.
He's a cute.
Come on, man. Don't do that to my friend, man.
But listen, you really have to. It all comes with, like, growth and development. If we still talking about the same thing from, like, college, or still doing the same weird stuff, I get it. Like, I don't want to be around it, but also I learned, like, any friend that's calling anything you do lil or like small, them be the ones you gotta watch out for. Or like, I seen your little podcast, or I seen you got some views. Like, ain't nothing little about anything I got going
exactly.
on. Or like my play, that shit finna be hard.
Right, like people be like, oh yeah, I see you. Like you don't see me. You really see me.
Right.
But for whatever reason, you're not trying to give me the acknowledgement because exactly, you feel like I'm like making you look less, and it's not that.
Right.
But just learn through all friendships, family, romantically, anything like that. The velocity that I come with is what it comes with. And if you feel as though that makes you less, then that's a conversation you gotta have with your therapist.
Right.
But I'm not gonna shrink myself to fit into any room or anything like that. Like it's a dub. It's a dub.
Yeah, that's another red flag is when you're around a certain friend and they always feel insecure around you, but then they try to make it your problem.
Right.
Like, oh, when we go out, like, you do this and you always get attention from this and I don't, and I feel like you're keeping me around to make yourself look better. And it's like, that don't even cross my mind. And the fact that you're trying to accuse me of that, that's something that's on you. That's not on me.
Envy can almost be worse than like hating.
Right.
Like, I feel like envy could really be like you could not like me and you don't even realize you don't like it versus saying some wild shit. Envy be like deep down.
Right.
And you just don't know, and you have to be careful because people are just...
Right.
It's tricky.
And they'll just make like negative, I don't think you should do that, or that's doing too much, or that's when you're trying to better yourself, or when you're trying to like start your own business, or you know, they it's all the little negative comments, but then they'll like give you a backhand like, oh, but I think it's great. Like they'll say something negative and then try to fix it.
Try to throw sprinkles on it, not knowing that you peeping everything, and that goes back to you making the decision like, I just peeped everything you just said. Like, I heard you.
Right.
Even though you're trying to throw grace on it, I heard you. Mm-hmm. Now, what decision am I going to make? And I think that's where the weird tug of war can come in at.
Right.
Like, is it that crazy to the point where I want to cut them off? Because we attach these friendships to things that may have gave us security in the past.
Right.
I don't want to cut this friendship off because it's that time when this person stood up for the bully, or the time when we was outside the bar and they did that. Like, we hold on to these past experiences, but we gotta still make a decision.
Gotta be in the present as well, not just because I that was another question that I was gonna ask. Like, how do you? It's hard sometimes when you've been friends with somebody for so long and you think about how loyal they used to be, but then when you think about the person that they are now, it's like, how do I know when to walk away? Like, because I don't want to feel that guilt. Like, dang, they was there for me back in the day. We've been cool since I was 10 or whatever. Like, how do you know when it's time to like go?
I think I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
No.
I think so I heard something on there was a pastor on YouTube that I saw, and he was more so talking about romantic relationships, but I think about that with a lot of things. Sometimes people be slaves to chemistry and memories as opposed to how they actually feel in the moment. I think the same way why people stay in toxic relationships because our families like each other and we've been doing this so long, so why not? I think it's the same thing when it comes to friendships. Mm-hmm. People attach all those different things that they've done together and be like, we've been through so much, so why would I just walk away from that? But I don't think that's enough for a person to let it attribute to the demise of their own happiness. I think you gotta find some way to still show up for yourself and be like, I can't get jiggy with this. Like, regardless of all these different things, yes, great, I'm happy that we went through all of that, but at what point do I stand up and show up for myself and say, I'm not with this, so I'm gonna take a step back?
I feel like sometimes I agree with what you're saying, but sometimes for me, my issue would be communicating when I'm upset with a friend, because I feel like sometimes I will hold stuff in and I could really not talk to you for like, I just did this recently. I didn't talk to a person for 6 months. And the person was actively calling me and she didn't even know that like I was upset by a plethora of things that she had said, or like just little statements that had just rubbed me the wrong way. But I never communicated that and I never said anything. And when we ended up having like a conversation, she kind of was just really upset, like, you didn't do this or you didn't do that or you never said this, you were avoiding me. But I was so angry by like what I felt like, I consider you a sister, I consider you like this person that I love, but you've done this and it really rubbed me the wrong way. I couldn't even get my words, like, I couldn't form no words to even say, like, yeah, you hurt my feelings or you did this. So I think communication is the part that we have to get to addressing, because we just don't speak on a lot of stuff.
It's hard
in friendships. You'll think that, because the longevity of the relationship, or we've had so many memories, but sometimes you have to really let that go and be like, we had a good time. Like, we really did have a good time together. But
preaching.
Yeah, that's a struggle for me as well. Like, I struggle with confrontation, and like, when somebody does me wrong, only when it's somebody I really care about, it's hard for me to address it. If it's somebody I don't like, I'm going to let you know. Right. But if I'm really close to you, it's like, dang, this hurts. You know, this hurts. I don't want to hurt their feelings, and it's going to hurt me to even say this. But I got to say it, and I got to say, like, I can't continue this friendship because this is just something that I'm feeling. This is just something that I'm feeling. And it's hard. But when you finally stand up for yourself in that way, you feel so much better. You feel so much better. And it's okay. It don't matter how long you've been friends. It don't matter if you was friends since Sandbox. It's okay to walk away from that friendship, y'all. It's okay.
And a lot of people also, what I realize is that a lot of people don't have the same definition and act off of the same level of as integrity as you.
Right.
You might think integrity is, boom, doing this, that, straight shooter. Other people could be integrity as long as this person don't find out.
Right.
Or integrity, to me, it just looks different. I'm telling you,
nerve right there. Okay,
like, this is just things like in human behavior. We hold people to these expectations or this rigor or this character, but that can only exist in our mind.
Right.
That don't mean they actually implementing that, or they might just be showing showing you certain things in front of you. It can literally just be that I'm showing you this, but when we step away from each other, I might be that friend that's talking about you. Well, you see, she started a little something, so I don't know who she thinks she is, blah, blah, blah. All insecure, a bunch of insecure shit, but you never really know.
Now, but being able to, I will say, I'm going to be the devil's advocate, being able to separate, like, emotional reactions versus, like, reality and, like, facts. I feel like sometimes we could be so upset and not even... like, this person is this way or she's this way, and it's like, okay, let me assess this friendship as a whole. I feel like we don't give people enough grace. And my grandma said this to me. She said, you always are like, you're quick to just remove a person, stop a person. But then it's like you don't give nobody grace. Like, give somebody grace. You have error as well. Right. Give this person room to fuck up.
We all have messed up in friendships, in relationships, and sometimes it is, good to have grace, and sometimes it's okay to walk away. It just depends on the person. It depends on the person. But I'm glad that we got to have this talk about friendships, friendship breakups, forgiveness, because it's something that I'm dealing with and that we all deal with as adults, and our friendships change over time. But I just wanted to thank you guys, my real friends, being here and sharing those things. Beans, did you have anything that you...
The only thing I want to say is, do not let longevity be the reason why you're holding on to certain things. Like, be able and have the confidence to stand up for yourself if someone isn't adding to the polarity that you need to grow.
All right, well, that's another episode of What's Good With You. Happy November. It's only 2 months left in the year. Make it count. And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Leave a comment. And we out. What's good with you?